The crystal chandelier sparkled overhead as Rebecca Morrison smoothed down her silver sequin dress for the third time that evening. At 42, she had built Morrison Tech from the ground up, turning a small startup into one of the region's most successful companies. Tonight was supposed to be her crowning achievement, the annual investor dinner, where she would announce their biggest expansion yet. But her attention wasn't on the presentation notes or the investors mingling with champagne glasses. It was on the small hand gripping hers tightly. Emma, her 5-year-old daughter, stood beside her in a navy blue velvet dress, blonde hair falling in soft waves around her cherubic face. The child's bright eyes took in everything: the glittering room, the well-dressed strangers, the tables laden with fine china, but her lips remained pressed together in silence. Rebecca felt a familiar ache in her chest. 3 years. 3 years since Emma had stopped speaking after the accident that took her father's life. 3 years of specialist therapists and endless patience. Emma could hear perfectly, but somewhere deep inside, the trauma had locked away her voice. "It's going to be fine, sweetheart," Rebecca signed to her daughter, one of the phrases she had learned in the intensive sign language courses she had taken. Emma's small hands replied, "Too many people, Mama." "I know, baby, but we'll sit together, and if you need to leave, we will. I promise." The hotel ballroom in downtown Philadelphia was filling rapidly. Rebecca had agonized over whether to bring Emma tonight. Her mother had offered to babysit. But Emma had become increasingly anxious when separated from Rebecca, especially in the evenings. The therapist said it was normal for children who had experienced loss. So here they were. Rebecca guided Emma toward their reserved table near the front, nodding and smiling at colleagues and investors along the way. She had built a reputation as someone unshakable, someone who could command a boardroom with ease. But tonight, her confidence felt paper-thin. As they reached their table, Rebecca noticed a man already seated there, someone she didn't recognize on the guest list. He was perhaps 35, with dark hair and kind eyes, wearing a tailored gray suit that suggested he belonged here, even if he seemed slightly out of place among the tech moguls and venture capitalists. "Hello," Rebecca said, her CEO voice automatically engaging. "I don't believe we've met. I'm Rebecca Morrison." The man stood quickly, extending his hand. "Daniel Cooper. I'm so sorry. I think there might be some confusion with the seating. I'm filling in last minute for Marcus Wellington from Sterling Investments. He had a family emergency." Recognition flickered. Marcus was one of their key investors. "Of course. Welcome, Mr. Cooper. Please, Daniel is fine." His eyes drifted down to Emma, and his expression softened in a way Rebecca had seen 1,000 times. That mixture of curiosity and discomfort people showed when they encountered a child who didn't behave as expected. Emma had already begun her familiar ritual, pressing close to Rebecca's side, one hand clutching her mother's dress while the other moved in small, nervous gestures. Rebecca felt herself tense, preparing to explain, to smooth over the awkwardness, to protect her daughter from the weight of strangers' judgments and questions. But then something unexpected happened. Daniel's eyes followed Emma's hand movements, and his face changed, not with pity or confusion, but with recognition. He lowered himself slowly to Emma's eye level, careful not to invade her space, and his hands began to move. Rebecca's breath caught in her throat. Daniel was signing. Fluid, natural sign language that was far beyond the basic phrases Rebecca had struggled to master. "Hello," his hand said Emma. "My name is Daniel. That's a very pretty dress you're wearing. Blue is my favorite color." Emma's eyes went wide. She glanced up at Rebecca, then back at Daniel, her small hands frozen in surprise. Daniel continued, his movements gentle and unhurried. "I see no sign language. That's wonderful. Do you like this party, or is it a little too noisy?" A pause hung in the air, one of those moments that could tip either way. Then, slowly Emma's hands lifted. "Too loud," she signed back. "Too many strangers." "I understand completely," Daniel replied with his hands. "Sometimes I feel that way too at big parties. Would you like to know a secret?" Emma nodded, and Rebecca watched, stunned, as a small smile tugged at the corner of her daughter's mouth. The first genuine smile she had seen all evening. "When there are too many people around," Daniel signed, I pretend I'm a scientist studying interesting humans, like watching fish in an aquarium. It makes it feel less scary. Want to try it together?" Emma's smile grew wider, and she nodded again, more enthusiastically this time. Rebecca felt tears prickling at the corners of her eyes. She had to clear her throat before she could speak. "Mr. Cooper, Daniel, how did you—" Daniel straightened up, and she saw something flicker across his face. An old pain, perhaps, or a memory he carried. "I have a daughter, too," he said quietly. "Lily. She's 6. She's deaf." The simple statement held volumes. Rebecca found herself sinking into the chair beside him as Emma, emboldened by finding someone who understood, climbed into the seat on her other side. "Emma doesn't speak," Rebecca explained, her voice lower now, more personal than professional. "It's not a physical issue. It's complicated." "You don't have to explain," Daniel said, and there was such genuine kindness in his tone that Rebecca felt something in her chest unwind slightly. Every child's story is their own. Before Rebecca could respond, the lights dimmed slightly, and the master of ceremonies took the stage. The dinner program was beginning. She would have to give her presentation soon, had to focus on the business at hand. But for the first time in months, she felt like she could breathe a little easier. Throughout the first course, Rebecca noticed Emma watching Daniel curiously. The little girl who usually sat rigidly silent at social events was leaning forward slightly, her eyes tracking the movements of his hands whenever he signed something to her. Small comments about the food, questions about her favorite animals, simple observations that treated her like a complete person rather than a problem to be solved. "How did you learn to sign so well?" Rebecca asked during a lull in the speeches. Daniel's expression grew distant. "When Lily was born, we didn't know at first that she was deaf. She was about 8 months old when we got the diagnosis. My ex-wife now, she had a hard time accepting it. She saw it as something broken that needed fixing." He paused, choosing his words carefully.